Civil War Collectible Channel. My name is stevemnsn, and I am the Civil War Guru. And today I have in here is probably one of the most wonderful collections of Indian War equipment that I've ever seen all in one spot. In front of the camera, we have the Junior Guru. This is Brennan Cole. He is my cameraman, alleged cameraman, lighting man, and all the above that goes with it. So we're going to switch spots, and we're going to go over this wonderful grouping that we have in here today. All right, Brennan, switch spots with me. Ready, Brennan? You got me? We're rolling? All right, guys. It's the Mother Lode. The Mother Lode has landed in Bardstown, Kentucky. What I have in front of me here, now I'm going to talk for just a minute, and then we'll have Brennan Cole get up here and get close-ups of all this stuff. What we have in here is a 1.65 millimeter Hotchkiss mountain rifle. This thing was made in, they actually started in vogue in 1876. I think they called it model 1878. But there was originally 6 of these. They were made, and General, let me get his name right here, stevemnsn, it's B-E-N-E-T, had ordered these for General Nelson Miles. Now you can remember this was right after the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And what they were looking for a light piece of artillery that had range, etc., mobile. And so these were designed by a guy named Hotchkiss, B. Hotchkiss out of Connecticut. And he had the first 6 manufactured in France. And they were shipped over here, and Benet had them. So he gave one to Miles, and he told General Miles, he said, put it through the test. So Miles used it out west. He put it through different configurations and different usages, and it far surpassed his expectations. So then he shipped the final 5 to him. So that's 6 original Hotchkiss made in Paris. This is serial number 6. This is the Mother Lode of Hotchkiss cannons. This cannon was there from the beginning to the end. These cannons spanned it through the war with Spain, San Juan Hill. They were there. They were there in Manila Bay. These cannons had a good run. They had a negative run. They were at the slaughter at Wounded Knee. There was 4 of them there that decimated the Native Americans. But this cannon fit the bill. This cannon is in wonderful condition. And we're going to get up and get close with this and let you see all the aspects of it. Also behind me, and we're going to photograph this too. What this is an estate sale. And this is being sold as a grouping. And they had come to me and said, Guru, can you get it out in front of people? And let's see if we can get some interest in this thing. And what this was the guy's collecting of Indian War artifacts for, 30 plus years, 40 years. He's passed away, unfortunately. He was a Marine Corps sniper. He was up at Quezon in '68. God love his soul. But anyway, this was his hobby and his dream, and this, of course, was the pinnacle of what he collected. So now we're going to get up here, and I'm going to let the little Junior Guru get up here, and I will continue to talk as we go over the cannon. We're going to start with the Hotchkiss Cannon first, and then we'll go down and we'll pan through the Indian War artifacts that are here and different things that are here. And then at the end, I'll give you a price of what they're kind of looking for. And this is a time-sensitive thing. I'm going to put this thing on the internet. And we're going to let the people that are the subscribers of the Civil War channel, they're going to get a shot at it first because they're subscribers. So take a good look at it, and let me give you a little dissertation on it, and we'll go from there. Okay, what we have here is a frontal shot of it, and I'm going to give you some dimensions on this thing. The total weight of these cannons was 362 pounds total. They had a range of 2 miles, roughly 3,500 yards. The tubes are machined metal, steel. They're rifled. The tube length is a little under 4 foot, 3.83. The caliber is 1.65 inches. The barrel by itself weighs 121 pounds. And again, the total weight is 362. And these shot a projectile and I'll get one up here in a minute. A self-contained projectile, but it used a fused primer, just like the Civil War guns did. This is the very first ones. The later Hotchkisses had a centerfire primer in it, just like a regular cartridge of today. But this is the early one. This is one where you had to use the fused primer. The carriages are iron carriages, and the axles are steel. The wood wheels, they got the brass mounts on them, and of course it's got the lanyard holders on the mounts. It's got in the back you'll see the elevator, and then you'll see the block. The block, what it does is you move the lever and the block will slide to the right. Then you insert your projectile. Then you slide the block back in and you dog it down. And then you put your primer in there and you're ready to go. You set your elevation. And matter of fact, this system was so good after the Civil War, they used this particular type of conversion system on some of the 3-inch ordnance rifles that were used in the Civil War. But these things were deadly accurate because they were rifled. I think it's 10 groove rifling in it, and they were light and like I say, they could move these through the foothills of South Dakota. They chased Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce with some of these cannons. But what it is about this particular cannon, this cannon was there. This cannon is serial number 6 in official ORs, official records. OR means official records. This cannon took delivery by General Miles. So this isn't one that you think, well, was it there or wasn't it there? You know they had this in their possession. And what it is the very first ones were made in France, and this is one of those. And then when the government gave them a contract for 100 of them, and they tooled up in Connecticut, and they made them in Connecticut, and less than 100. Their total of these today are known to exist are in around 50. But the ones made in Connecticut, those were the later ones in the 1880s and 1890s. And then even after the war, these cannons were sold by Bannerman, which was a kind of a liquidator up in New York, and they were sold to South America and that. And then it was ironic in the 70s, a guy found about 10 or 15 of these down in South America and bought them back. So, the ones that are out there, there's no guarantee that they were ever used in the Western Plains. This particular gun, it was. And that's what makes this kind of the pinnacle in cannon collecting, because it was the only cannon that was used, that was made during the Indian Wars. And then to follow through with San Juan Hill, how romantic is that? And then they used them in Manila. They took them offshore, offload them off the boats in Manila. So, a lot of history with these particular cannons. And again, it's the ultimate cannon of the period. And I'm going to get Brendan to get up here to get a few more close-ups of it. And then we'll start on the rest of this Indian War stuff that's behind it, and then we can go from there. All right, we're now at the rear of the gun in the breech loading mechanism. And I'm going to walk over here and get one of these empty cartridges. This is a dummy cartridge. You pull your lever back, your breech slides open. It loads to the rear, just like that. And then you slide your block back over, and it needs a little dog it down. This hole here, you put your friction primer in there, and you see all the Civil War pictures of the guys with the line getting ready to pull it. That's what they're pulling, is a friction primer, and they'll be standing over here. This is your elevating sight. This is your barrel elevator here. And then you have your point right here for your sight, right up here on the across from the trunnions. And let Brendan continue to shoot that little thing again. But this is a wonderful, immaculate condition. Up here on top is where they lightly stamp these things, and that's why it's not painted. And it has the Hotchkiss, and it has the serial number 6 there. And there's a couple other things on here that tells you it's the early model. But this is the cannon, and this is of course the primary piece of this collection. All right, what we have here is a montage of Indian War artifacts, starting from the saddle here on the very end, which he's already panned it once, and that's the Indian War period saddle. They made up to about 1910. And behind that is, actually, I wish I had a way to lay it out, but that is the saddle mount for the barrel on the Hotchkiss, so that it fits on the back of the mule. Of course, I failed to mention that these things were carried by 2 mules. You had one with a barrel and the other one with a carriage, just like a 12-pound mountain howitzer in the Civil War. And then if we go down the table, you can see where the gentleman collected. There's a 7th Cavalry Indian War period kepi, and this dude, I'm gonna step kind of out of the camera, and you can see a Indian War period officer's belt, original buttons, the colonel's shoulder straps, and then you keep on going down. You see this another belt there. There's some web belting buckles, another 7th Cavalry officer's kepi badge, shoulder boards. There's an Indian War bit. There's a Mills cartridge belt for the 45-70. I see a 45-70 bayonet. I also see a picket stake for picketing the horses. They're totally different from the Civil War. In the back, you'll see a bunch of empty cartridges that were dug of 45-70s. Then you'll see carbine holders for the saddle. There's an 1884 45-70 up here with the ramrod bayonet. And then he's got a 1865 Spencer rifle. And there's a very end of the Civil War, beginning of the Civil War, wonderful bugle. And this a lot of stuff here, and then we also have a couple quivers of arrows, a shield, and some other things go with it. But anyway, this was this guy's entire little collection that he enjoyed and he loved. And of course, again, the pinnacle of the collection is the mountain howitzer itself. And let's talk about price now. The price, of course, they want to get as much as they can get, but these Hodgkinses have sold up to $50,000, and and most of those that have sold were the American-made ones. They weren't even the early ones. And this is one that is guaranteed. You can go up any OR, and of course we have tons of paperwork on it, and it shows that the first 6 went to Nelson Miles, and of course it's right after the Little Bighorn. So you got a documented cannon here, and cannon listings and registries are horrible. After the Civil War especially, those just disappeared, and so to have this here listed and right in the thick of things means a lot. So it's kind of like having Custer's pistol. Was this an Indian War pistol? Well, of course. Is this an Indian War mountain rifle? Absolutely. Was it used there? Absolutely. So there's no gray area with this. So there, a collection like this, I don't know. We're going to say that it's worth $50,000 plus with all the other stuff here. I mean, I can look at these little belts. The belts are bringing $500-$600 a piece. The Mills belt bring $500-$600. The cartridge or the carbine holders will bring $300 or $400 a piece. The 45-70 bring $1,000 or so. The Spencer bring $3,000. So there's a ton of stuff here. The saddle here, this is probably one of the best Indian War saddles around, and it'll bring it's an Indian War saddle because it's so complete, so wonderful. It'll bring $1,000, $1,500. So anyway, what they're looking at is they're starting out, and there's been some inquiries around the $50,000 range for everything. So that's what's going to take. Myself, I'm involved, and of course the other member of the family is a Corvette collector. So if there's anybody out there with any 58s, 59s, 60s, 61 Corvettes, that kind of thing, they'd be interested in that. And because these guys are flexible. But it's a wonderful grouping, and love to see it all stay together because it's a lifetime collection. But again, we're featuring mainly the Hotchkiss mountain rifle. So from the Civil War Guru, have a great day.